Hi there, I'm Chris from Airwindows, and it's getting on towards the holiday season. I'm trying to rest up a little bit so that I can go into the new year with some enthusiasm and vigor, and I'm doing my level best with that reasonably well, I think. So today I have something that's kind of useless and something that's perhaps not, and I'll be fairly quick about it. Introducing Gringer. It's basically one of these. It's kind of like this. I built one of those into my guitar a while back for doing certain kinds of solos. This is the secret Frank Zappa lead guitar trick that sometimes shows up in some of his stuff, especially just extended shut up and play your guitar style wailing away. What this does is it's essentially a full wave rectifier. That's pretty much all it is. And the plugin, as you can see, has no controls, just like this has no controls. This on and off is, you can use the bypass switch to do what this is doing. And what does it sound like? Well, I'll show you. When I turn it on, it sounds kind of horrible. That's really what one of these sounds like. You're not supposed to run it on entire mixes. So without getting into too much detail on that, Gringer is a Airwindows Green Ringer style-y thing. It's kind of like a analog emulation, only not, because you could do a super simple and primitive version of this process by just doing a full wave rectification. Sometimes I do that in my plugins anyway to do calculations with, and it's just like output equals absolute value of input. Once you've done that, everything is one big DC offset, and it bounces off of the center point. So what I've done is I've got the input and the output of this rectification going through one of my extremely wide bandpass biquad filters. And what that's going to do is that removes the DC offset quality, so it puts things back into kind of the middle of the waveform again. And it also suppresses extreme low frequencies and highs, for that matter, going into the plugin. So what you get is a tone quality that sounds a little bit more analogy, but mostly like, please don't use this in mastering. Do I even have to say it? Yes, I do have to say it. Please don't use this in mastering. One of my friends, David, this is probably not going to do very interesting things stuck in the middle of your favorite pair of processing plugins. But you know, if you didn't have one of these, now you do, or something much like it. And this is actually empty. The guts of this are inside another guitar. So you might put that, be sure to bypass it when you're not using it, on a synthesizer lead, or perhaps put it on a guitar of some kind. If you're doing your guitars in the box, then this might be a useful thing to get you some tonalities that you wouldn't otherwise have. If you're doing mellow, very treble rolled off kind of tones, it'll get you closer to a nice octave effect. And if you're doing double stops or bends with more than one string, it will just freak out completely. And chords, forget it. Power chord sometimes is interesting. You'll see what you can get out of this one. It's definitely for playing with. It's definitely for just making ugly noises with. And, what's not to like about that? Now, I was going on longer than I expected about this, because this is a very small plugin with no controls to it, and it does this kind of thing. This is not actually an original Green Ringer. This is a reissue. So mine is a plugin of a reissue of who knows what. But it's a full wave rectifier. And if you know what you might want to do with something that sounds like an analog circuit of a full wave rectifier, then knock yourself out. Since this is not likely to be a big successful result of a plugin, I would point out that last week I put out Pocket Verbs. And Pocket Verbs is considerably more popular and got almost no comment. I can only assume because everybody who downloaded it and tried it started putting reverbs on things, had a wonderful time, and they're still doing it. And they have not stopped listening to weird reverbs and fooling with the controls yet. So obviously they couldn't comment in any of the posts. This is actually one of the things that happens to you if you are making products of any kind, really, in marketing and capitalism, and your stuff is clean enough that there's nothing wrong with it, and people are wanting that, and you're not messing with people or messing with their heads or manipulating them in any way, and your thing just basically works, people will just basically use it, and they won't gripe or celebrate or anything. They'll just sort of like, okay, off we go. And so your thing dies a death in social media because nobody's talking about it, because there's no problem. This is, I suppose, a failure of marketing. Oh well, so sorry. I don't like marketing, and I don't like bothering people or misbehaving just to get more attention or more reactions in the realms of marketing. So, oh well, we're just going to have to skip that. So enjoy Gringer. I hope you enjoy Pocket Verbs. And one more thing. I've been working on monitoring. Monitoring came out a little while ago. And I've done things like put in Oratone models called Orat that can go to either one or the other single speaker, and just kind of keeping it updated. And somebody was having a problem with the two channels of Orat not sounding exactly the same, so I've been working on that. Hopefully I fixed it at this stage. So that's an update. And I've also added one more thing to the end of monitoring. You're supposed to switch among it as you use it, so it's not like people are going to have saved stuff that will be messed up by adding things. Even if they did, adding something to the end is probably fine. And the thing that I've added to the end is voice trick. Because if you're fooling around with monitoring on your output and doing various things using that, then why not have on the end of this monitoring thing the trick where you could put up a microphone exactly in the center of your monitoring speakers, your situation, and point it towards yourself, not wear headphones, kind of like this. Not wear headphones, and be listening to, there's a wire. There's a wire crawling all over me. Not wear headphones and have your monitor speakers playing back the music at you while you sing into the microphone that's right in front of you, being able to hear your voice in open air. Some people like doing this. Peter Gabriel has done it a fair bit. In order to do it, you need to have a microphone that is nice and directional, like cardioid, hypercardioid, something like that. But Voice Trick, as an algorithm, makes the audio mono, and then takes one of the output speakers and flips its phase. If you place the microphone just right between the speakers and point it at yourself, the direct feed from the speakers will hit the microphone exactly out of phase and cancel itself out, which means you can hear the playback, but the microphone kinda can't. And I say kinda because you're still going to be getting it out of room reverberation, but get right on the mic, have a nice directional mic, and if you can live with a little bit of room reverb on your backing tracks that you were using in order to sing the vocal, there's your voice trick for you. And it should work. You can try it and see how well it works for you. And you're welcome. And that's been added to monitoring. And that is live, just like the Gringer is live. So, happy Thanksgiving, those of you who celebrate that kind of thing or whatever. We're on to the holiday season, so I'm going to be working through that, but that's just my way. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. My stomach is rumbling. I need to go and make my tacos. It's usual I put off eating and sleeping to do all of this kind of work. But whatever. I will talk to you later. Let me go and upload this and then have dinner. I'll see whether I can't do that. Bye-bye.